And also Devin Williams had a child recently. So there's a lot going on in his life. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. And he just needs his beard to be a little bushier, and then maybe he'll feel more comfortable as a Yankee.
Totally. Yeah, that could be it too.
Yeah.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsulias, and with me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, Friday.
Stacey, happy Friday.
It's Friday. We're here again. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, and hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live. On today's show, we're going to do a deeper dive into the San Francisco Giants for the preview. This weekend, the Yankees take them on, and they have some things the Yankees would like. So we're going to discuss that in segment 3. But first, it's Fan Mail Friday, and well done, YouTube. Well done. A ton of questions from you guys, and you followed my directions. I love it. It makes me so happy when you do that. And if you are a new listener / viewer of Locked On Yankees, we do Fan Mail Friday every Friday. We have an Insiders Club, and they get top priority. And every Friday, one insider gets the special honor of being the first person to ask a question, and it's Betty, and this is what Betty says. Considering the performance of Williams to date, understanding that it is still very early in the season and too soon to give up on him, do you think Boone will stick with him no matter what? If he does struggle, what would you think of him moving to the 7th, 8th innings for a while to let him get his feet under him as a Yankee?
I think Boone absolutely sticks with him. No doubt. I don't think they move him to the 7th or 8th inning. None of that whatsoever. Devin Williams has proven himself enough in the major leagues. He has. He's one of the elite closers in all of baseball. He's been that for a couple of years now. The last time he was out of the 7th or 8th inning, he was behind Josh Hader, who was also one of the elite closers in all of baseball. No, they're not going to move. This should not become a conversation until June if these struggles continue. And I doubt they will. Major leaguers figure it out. Some guys start off slow. And also Devin Williams had a child recently, so there's a lot going on in his life. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, and he just needs his beard to be a little bushier, and then maybe he'll feel more comfortable as a Yankee.
Totally, yeah, that could be it too.
Yeah.
The next question's from David F. Yankees manager Aaron Boone seems I don't know what he's saying. Yankees manager Aaron Boone seems use and on the field management style like that of Sweet Lou P. Over management. Does he have anyone giving him consultation that he actually listens to? Did I read that wrong, or did I not translate correctly?
No, it's basically he seems to have the on-field management style like Lou Piniella, which is over management. And it's funny because I watched the Yankees back when Lou Piniella was managing, and I wasn't that into it. I wasn't into the strategy of it because I was young and really just like I only cared about Don Mattingly. So, I liked everyone else on the team, but I was, a girl in elementary school, junior, like, you know what I mean? Like
the mustache got you.
It wasn't like now where I watch them for my job, or, when you become an adult and you really study the game of baseball and you know what's going on. That's when everything clicked for me. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay. So I don't remember how Sweet Lou managed, but he does kind of have that sort of. But the thing about Boone, we say it all the time. He either does something too quickly or waits too long to do something. Like there's no in between with Aaron Boone.
Yeah, I don't think he overmanages. I don't think he thinks too farly into the game. I think he can't help but get his sticky fingers in the pudding sometimes. That's the problem. I think that sometimes he needs to get himself involved in the game. And I think what he fails to realize sometimes is sometimes the best managers are like the best referees or umpires. They're the ones that go unnoticed.
Right.
Whereas you don't need to be a storyline in the game. I think he's always trying to do something, and you don't need to always be doing something. Sometimes less is more. I think that's Aaron Boone's biggest issue. I don't think he overmanages. I think he just tries to do a little too much sometimes, which isn't necessarily over managing. It's not the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Okay. Over managing to me is trying to be the smartest guy in the room too often, right? Over managing to me is doing too many things. That can be the right move sometimes. So the problem is Aaron Boone makes a move for the sake of making a move, right? Aaron Boone will take out Jason Dominguez in game 12 of the season for defensive reasons in the 7th inning when Jason Dominguez might have 2 more at-bats left in the game. That's the difference there.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about Lou Piniella, and I mean, I think they're similar in the fact that they're hotheads, but other than that, I do remember that about Lou.
It's different though. Being a hothead in baseball now is so different than it was back then, though, too.
No, I know. Thank you for the question, David. Next up, Sean, who's a new insider. He says, every dayer, love the show. What do y'all think of Peraza starting at second since Jazz is 0 for 15? When was he? I guess that was earlier in the week. Maybe he had a streak where he wasn't hitting the ball. Him and Volpe are comfortable with each other from AAA. I mean, we talked about Peraza on yesterday's show, and this question was asked before yesterday's show. I actually spoke about this, I think, with Steve, where I was hoping that they would bring up Peraza because I figured Glaber was not going to sign with the Yankees, and this was back in 23, and I just figured they'd probably let him go because he wasn't doing that great then either. And I was envisioning Volpe and Peraza up the middle. Like, I was envisioning them moving him to second. And then they started playing him at third. And I thought, okay, that would work. Then they traded for Jazz Chisholm. And I'm like, well, what are they doing here? And, so now that Jazz is at second, I want Peraza at third. For the love of God.
I think the long-term plan is for Jazz to be at second, too. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at the end of this year if there's an extension given to Jazz. And they like his player profile, his swing. Also, Jazz is a lot more comfortable being a Yankee where they, he's said it out loud. They let him be who he wants to be. Whereas the Marlins were a little more not in favor of that, let's just say.
Which is so odd when you, because people always bash the Yankees for being too strict and too businesslike, but that has gone away in the last, I would say, 8 years since Aaron Judge really came up, because even back in 2017, they weren't going on road trips with suits. They were wearing, like, him and Holiday had like matching Hawaiian shirts, and they were doing all these things. And, that might be more of like a sports science thing, because a lot of organizations have like studied that sitting on a flight, literally a sports science thing, we're sitting on a flight in comfortable loungewear as opposed to suits is more beneficial for you health-wise. It's a weird thing. They actually did it on an episode of Sports Science years ago. I remember that. That's why. And then teams all started doing that after that. Also, I do want to note, I don't think the Volpe-Peraza connection from AAA is that big of a deal. No, Volpe was barely in AAA.
Exactly. And Volpe and Jazz have a really good connection from what's shown so far. So I don't think that's a big deal either, to be honest.
Yeah. Like right now, it's Jazz and Volpe up the middle. I want Peraza at third. Listen to me, Yankees. Not that you will. Before you get to this next question, I made the graphic last week. I forgot to put it into the show. I realized when I was editing last week's Fan Mail Friday that I forgot this one. So I already apologized to Shalid through text, through the Insiders Club, but I would like to apologize to him again because I'm so sorry that I forgot your question.
Shalid, this is your public apology. Are we in agreement that these torpedo bats aren't a big deal? If we didn't get off to a good start, no one will be talking about them this much. Fingers crossed we don't go on a losing streak, but if we did, would this even be a story?
Now, of course, this was April 2nd, and yes, the Yankees actually started losing a little more than they were. But you notice how people are quiet now about the bats.
Well, because the whole league's using them now.
Yeah.
I think to be honest with you, Shalid, I think it was more of a storyline because of the Yankees offense rather than the winning. I don't think the winning was a huge storyline. I think it was the fact that they hit, 9 home runs in the first 2 games. That's what I think the big deal was. But yeah, the fact that the rest of the league jumped on this and started using it, or it was brought to light that the rest of the league was using it, made a lot of people shut up about it really quick.
Yep. One last question before we move on to segment 2. This is our first YouTube question from Richie DiMaggio. Is there any relation, or are you just a big Joe DiMaggio fan and decided to put that into your YouTube username? Let us know. Thank you, Stacey and Brian, for making such an amazing show every day. Well, thank you for saying that. We appreciate it. Here is my question. What pitcher would you trade for to help the starting rotation?
Interesting, because I don't know what the market looks like right now. That's the difficult thing, right? No one's defined themselves really, unless you're the White Sox by now, of being good or bad. So there's not much that's available out there right now. No one's willing to trade anybody that, at a point right now. So, Richie, I hate to be that guy, but I don't think there's much of an answer for you yet.
Yeah.
No one's defined themselves enough to know who's a buyer or a seller by July anyway. The only one, I think the name that comes up a lot is Sandy Alcantara, but I think he'll be available to a degree, but for what the cost is, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know what the Yankees are going to be willing to part with whatever the Marlins going to be asking. And it's not going to be just Spencer Jones. Right. It's going to be a lot. So I don't know. The markets right now has not defined itself. Teams haven't defined themselves yet. That's a tough question, to be honest with you.
All right, don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club, the aforementioned Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings, reactions to the games. We send out the lineups so you know what's going on, roster moves, and breaking news so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up, more of your questions from YouTube.
Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with the complete inventory of over 200,000 parts and 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for that extra edge, their free Trademaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. And thank you again for making Locked On Yankees your first listen. Guys, remember that every Friday is Fan Mail Friday. You can leave questions underneath the pin, comment on our videos Monday through Thursday, and then when you watch next week's episode that's just like this one, you can join the Lock. You can get all your questions in for Fan Mail Friday. Also, if you want to join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club, those fans get top priority during Fan Mail Friday. You can be involved in next week's episode just a week from today. The link is in our description. So, Stacey, we continue with the YouTube questions of our Fan Mail Friday portion, and we started off with Rivka Meiselman, 3375. His question's directed directly towards you. Stacey, who are the 3 MLB players who went to your high school?
I was actually mistaken. It's only 2. One guy did play baseball, but he only made it to, I believe it was AAA. Loser. So it was 2. But we do have Tracy Wolfson as an alumni of my high school, which is pretty cool. Keith Bullock from football also. Like, my school had some cool people. So
Stacey Gotsulias.
Will Kinane, class of 92, with me. He was drafted by the Marlins, the expansion Marlins, and he played for them. He played for the Braves. He played for the Padres. I saw him pitch. Or no, he didn't pitch. He was there when they were playing against the Mets. We went to Shea Stadium. I smiled at Tony Gwynn, and he smiled back at me. I met Kilvio Veras. Like, it was like, ooh. And then more recently, Chris O'Grady, who pitched for the Marlins, also graduated from my high school, which is pretty cool. Also, Adam Rodriguez, the actor, he was a year behind me. He was with Tracy Wolfson. Class of 93 was like,
yeah, wow. My high school's only claim to fame is Pete Davidson. That's it.
That's cool.
Yeah, right? It is. But like, that's our only claim to fame. You guys have a lot more big time.
Yeah. It was very exciting to see Will make the majors. And back then, 1992, he was able to hit 92, 93 on the gun, and he was tall and wiry. And it was.
So he was a hard thrower back then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they like to go to, places at the shore where they do the radar guns and trick the guys because they'd be like,
Oh
"Oh,
yeah,
yeah, our friend wants to throw," and they'd be like, "Okay," and then he would throw like 92
100.
miles an hour, and they'd be like, so, yeah, pretty cool. All right, next question from Charles Darwin 180. By the way, Rivka, I'm assuming is a lady.
Oh, I
Rivka.
apologize.
Yeah. Charles Darwin 180, Brewers fan here. Since you did us dirty in the opening series, can you believe the Brewers actually have a higher winning percentage than the Yankees? Yes, because it's only April 11th.
Yes, it's very easy to recover at this point in the season. So yes, I can believe it. It's crazy.
Yeah, like I think it's funny. Devin Sawa from Final Destination and Chucky's, but he's an actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. We follow each other on social media, and he's Canadian, so he likes the Blue Jays, but he's lived in LA for the past 25 years, so he pulls for the Dodgers. And he posted the AL East standings with the Blue Jays on top, and I'm like, dude, it's April 10th. Like, what are you doing? Stop.
Yeah, and actually funny you mentioned that because as we're recording this on Thursday night, before the release is on Friday. So while you're listening to this, before the Yankees play on Friday and before the Brewers play on Friday, the Yankees winning percentage is currently .583. The Brewers winning percentage is currently .538.
Oh,
Yeah. So Charles, take that.
there you go, Charles Darwin.
Yeah, there you go, Charles Darwin. Yeah, if that's your real name. Vincent M. Durham says, do y'all think the Yankees should have upgraded third base during the offseason instead of going into the season with the in-house options?
I think they should have gone with Peraza, and I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. And I'll make
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
I'll make myself blue in the face with my ring light.
With your ring light.
Yeah.
I'd agree with you. I actually think they had enough options at third base going into the season. I don't think it was necessarily add at this point. Unless the price was a price they liked. I think the Arenado price was probably too high for their liking.
Yeah.
Going into the season. And it made sense to wait. You got to remember too with the Arenado stuff, because he's the available third baseman everyone wants. With the Arenado stuff, the Cardinals have a desire to move him too. It's not just the Yankees that want him. So both sides are kind of waiting each other out here. It's not just the Yankees that are being held out for. So I'd look at it that way too. Remember, these things are all in negotiation. It's all very fluent. So you got to play both sides of it here. If the Yankees really want to go get a third baseman, I think they will. But no, I don't think it was that necessary to go get one at the deadline at the start of the season.
Right. Next question from Marvy G23. Do you think the Yankees will look to trade for a pitcher this season? Now, is that a starting pitcher? Or is it a bullpen piece? I'm assuming starting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to all depend. Let's give you May 15th. By May 15th, it depends on how both Rodón and Fried look. Listen, if Max Fried looks like he looked the other day in Detroit, then I don't think there's as huge of a desire. They're going to have to address other needs the team has, right? If Carlos Rodón figures things out and he's pitching to a 2.8 ERA and Max Fried's pitching to a 2.2 ERA.
Or like even a 3 at this point from Rodón. Just blow up innings.
And it depends on what Schmidt gives you. And plus, if Heal's on the right track, which it looks like he's on the track to be back earlier than expected, 4 starting pitchers at that level is perfectly fine. I don't think they're going to need to go get a guy. Now, I think they'd like to go get a guy, but it depends on the price, right? If people know the Yankees are desperate, they're going to want major pieces out of their farm system. And you've seen it in years past. There's a very huge reluctancy out of the Yankees front office to give up top-tier farm pieces. So I think I'll give you May 15th, Stacey. Let's look at that date and see what the starting staff looks like at that point.
Okay. This next question is funny, and I'm glad you're going to read it.
I'm not. At Haiti UU76 says, can we trade both Rodón and Stroman?
No.
No.
I mean, they tried to trade Stroman and no one wanted him. And now that he's pitching to a 7.27 ERA.
Yeah, definitely no one wants him. Yeah. And Rodón, I don't want to trade Rodón.
No, I don't either.
I like Carlos Rodón. I think he gets an unfair shake of things at times. Again, we've talked about it. The mental thing is there, but yeah, Carlos Rodon's a really good pitcher in this league.
Yeah, like when he's good, he's good. It's just he needs to like rein some things in. That's what we talk about. It's, we don't hate him.
Yeah.
I know some people do, but I don't hate him.
I think he's got elite level stuff. It's just about, again, pulling it all together.
Yep. Last question of this segment from Ayers 8127. Ben Rice has catcher eligibility, right? I think he should play instead of Escara when Stanton comes back. What do you think? He is technically the third catcher, right?
Yeah, but he's listed in the depth chart, but I don't think they ever have a plan of playing him full time at catcher. And with the way Ben Rice is hitting right now, and at the rate they're playing Escara, by the way, they're using him as a backup catcher. They are. He's playing on days they're not using Wells. They're not going to replace Rice there. It's going to put him at catcher too much. And I don't think that's their plan. I don't know what their plan is, and I don't even think they know what their plan is yet for the once Stanton gets back.
Right. I also think that after the performance Fried had against the Tigers with Escara behind the plate,
good point.
You might see him catch Fried.
Really good point.
Yeah. All right. Coming up, more Fan Mail Friday questions, and we tell you what you need to know about the San Francisco Giants.
Guys, not only do we cover your team every day, but now we're giving you instant episodes after every single Yankees game. Check out the Locked On Yankees postcast. It's hosted by Jay Berman right here on the Yankees podcast feed. You can get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. Stacey, 2 more Fan Mail Friday questions. Leading off is FJE6902. They say, I'm concerned that this Yankees team is going to be the type that will beat up on bad teams and struggle against playoff contenders. It's early, but there's evidence of this. Can you see anything about this team that debunks my concerns? Thanks for the great content.
I think it's too early to say that. I think that some of the guys will probably improve. I think when the weather gets better, the team will improve as well, because it's not that easy to play in cold weather. They've had some issues with it. I think, some guys will get going offensively. I think some of the pitchers like Rodón will get more, consistent. I don't think this is as bad as, say, which year was it? Was it 23 where they kind of were having this issue where, against good teams, they weren't really doing that great. And then against bad teams, because when you're a good baseball team, you beat everyone. You don't have this thing where you just beat the bad teams and then you struggle with the playoff teams. So I think it's too early to worry. I think by not May 15th, I think by June, we'll see more of a trend.
Yeah,
by then it's not picking up, then maybe.
Just like how I think the Yankees opponents haven't shown themselves yet when it comes to trade deadline talk, I think the Yankees haven't really shown themselves yet either. Give it some time. It's been less than 2 weeks. Right. So let's let it marinate and sit and let them show you who they are. They haven't played enough contenders yet or pretenders yet to really prove to me yet that they're a good or bad team. Let's give it some time, I think.
Our last question, this username confused me. It's Art NNRNN. That doesn't really, you can't pronounce that as anything. 405. Who do we target for a rotation upgrade? I should have put all these questions together. I didn't realize what was happening here. Okay.
So many.
I don't think we have what it will take at trade deadline prices to land Alcantara. Maybe Seattle ships a piece or two of that rotation for bats if they keep up their rough start. Maybe a guy like Brian Wu, some risk there, but Cy Young upside, in my opinion, and the price might be more reasonable.
Don't think it's definitive that they need to make a deadline upgrade yet. Like we're all casting out that their pitching staff is terrible. Let it breathe. You know what I mean? Like let's see if it's bad or not. We don't know that yet. Yes, the Garrett Cole injury is awful, but they still have 4 really high quality pitchers in their staff, which is plenty good enough to win in the postseason. So I don't think that it's definitive they need to go out there and make a big splash for a starter as of yet. I really don't. Let it prove itself. And also, I'd say this: I think they do have the pieces to land Alcantara. It just depends on, are they willing to empty out their farm system for him? The pieces are there, though. A package of Hampton, including Spencer Jones, it does get it done. It does. It's just that the Yankees want to do that.
It is funny that the Yankees are in a spot where they could have used some of the kids that they traded away.
For sure.
2 trade deadlines ago, when they just basically like emptied out the farm of pitchers and were just like, here, you guys can have all of these pitchers. It's just kind of funny how that worked out. But yeah, it's too soon. Let's not panic yet.
Agreed.
All right. We previewed Yankees Giants already. We told you the pitching matchups, but let's tell you some more about the guys you will be seeing. So it's Marcus Stroman against Robbie Ray tonight on Yes, 7:05 start. Ray held the aforementioned Seattle Mariners to 1 hit over 6 innings in his last outing, but 5 walks and 2 strikeouts. So if the Yankees could be patient, and if the Yankees could get people on base and then maybe drive them in, maybe they can get to him. Because right now he's 2-0 with a 3.18 ERA. It's not like he's, Logan Webb with a 1.89.
Yeah.
So there is a way to get to Robbie Ray.
The problem is last year, this was the Yankees' bugaboo. Guys with middling 3s ERAs.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if they repeat their pattern of last year.
Yeah. Game 2, Saturday, that weird 3:05 start. Will Warren with his 6 ERA against Jordan Hicks with his 2.38. Hicks is a very hard thrower because he's one of those guys who's like up over 100
Flamethrower, yeah.
like regularly. But it's his slider that's striking more guys out this season so far.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by the Jordan Hicks story because when he came up again, he was throwing like 105 miles an hour. He was an absolute flamethrower.
Yeah.
The slider is interesting. A lot of these guys that throw really hard, their off-speed stuff is so much more effective because you're not prepared. You have no option but to gear up for that slider. You really don't. Yeah, that's your only option. I mean, it's to that fastball. You have to be ready for it completely. So the slider winds up looking like it's coming at you about 30 miles an hour. It's really hard for guys to catch up to it. Yeah. He's going to be a really tough. If the Giants can teach him how to get length out of his arm, he can wind up being an unbelievably effective starter. It's just if they can get length out of him.
Yep. And then on Sunday, 1:35 start, Rodón against Logan Webb. Logan Webb is 1-0 with a 1.89 ERA. Now, he's normally not a big strikeout pitcher, although he was against the Yankees 2 seasons ago when he had 12, and was it 12 on opening day? Yeah. But Cole still won that start. But he's striking guys out at a 30.4% clip so far, and his walk rate is only 4.3.
He's one of the top young pitchers in the game.
Yeah, small sample size, of course, but just giving you some numbers because we don't see the Giants that often, but here we are, like you said, 3 out of the first 4 series against National League teams. That's odd.
4 out of the first 5.
Oh, right. And
yeah.
The Giants are 9-3 to start the season, and they're not in first place in the NL West because the NL West has
the Dodgers and the Padres. The Giants are ahead of the Dodgers, by the way, right now. The Padres are ahead of them. Yeah. That division, other than Colorado, who's putrid, is so good. Because Arizona's 7-6, but we saw Arizona and they were really good. So that's a tough division.
Yep. A few more notes about the Giants. Their bullpen collective ERA is 1.98. It's 3rd in all of MLB. So if the Yankees want to win any of these games, they have to get to the starters before the bullpen comes in and shuts the door. Although you never 100%. Know, because sometimes the Yankees do strange things where they can hit guys with 5 ERAs, but batter the guys who have 1.98 ERA. So you'll see what happens. And then the Giants also play very crisp defense, unlike the Yankees sometimes. So
that's true.
Pitching and defense. That's why they're 9-3.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. This is a very, very, very good team. So definitely a big test for the Yankees, especially with the pitching. The last 2 series, they're getting run through the top pitchers in both teams. It's really tough.
Yep. So that's it for this Fan Mail Friday edition of Locked On Yankees. This week went fast too.
Oh yeah, the season's moving on so quick. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, before you know it, Luis Heel will be back, and And then maybe we'll have some conversations about what to do with the pitching rotation. We'll see. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you next week.